Was he? Is he lying?
It was a well-timed lie.
He might have lied. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Cool.
Oh, I'm on IFB 4.
IFB4. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Keep talking.
Try turning on my microphone. Should be able to hear me any second. I can hear myself. That's a good sign. And then, cool.
Your first alert to plan your day and stay safe. From KCRG TV 9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
Good evening. Welcome to the Thursday evening edition of First Alert Weather Now. I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson.
I'm meteorologist AJ Rickman.
Good news is we can breathe a sigh of relief for at least a little while after last night's slick roads. We have a little bit of a break.
Absolutely, yeah. There was definitely some slipping and sliding last night, especially on untreated roads, bridges, overpasses. But sunshine today, warmer temperatures help melt all of that away. We get a couple of days of break from the winter weather before the next round arrives.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't last for too long, and there is more potentially next week as well, which we'll get into all of that in a little bit. We've also got your forecast for fun as typical and your grower's guide, looking at what we're doing so far this month. Justin Roberts will take a look at that.
Absolutely. Lots to look forward to as we get into this edition of First Alert Weather Now.
Indeed, but what you need to know as you step outside this evening is the continued quiet weather that we're going to see tonight into tomorrow. Another day pretty typical for early February for your Friday. Wraps up the work and school week on a day with likely no disruption to the school schedule. Sorry, kids. This weekend, though, does bring a chance for snow back to the area, especially north. That's where the best chance for snow that sticks will be, and that continues at least during the first part of the weekend. Next week, a little bit of drop in temperatures is still on track, too. We will not see a return to any of that early spring warmth that we enjoyed just a week ago, unfortunately for those seeking it. Our Cassville City Cam at this point shows a quiet picture in terms of overall weather conditions, but it still is pretty windy out there, coming from the west between about 15 to 25 miles per hour in many cases, especially the farther northeast you go. For example, Cassville at 25. That's driving our temperatures from the upper 20s to low 30s, making them feel more like the single digits and teens north of Highway 20 to the south mid 20s. So if you are headed out this evening, make sure to dress warmly as those temperatures continue to fall. We'll be toward the teens for the start of your Friday on the thermometer, and any little wind probably pushing us down into the single digits in terms of how it feels. So nothing crazy, certainly cooler.
Definitely. And compared to what we had a week ago with those spring-like temperatures, a little bit of a shock to everybody's system.
Absolutely. But we will hopefully get through it. Well, let's find out, though. I mean, you never know, I suppose.
Well, there's some that just can't take it. But, for most of us, we'll just have to hunker down, curl up under a blanket, and just wait for it to get warmer. Or if you enjoy being out in the cold and the snow, now's your time.
Exactly. This is the time to thrive. And there are plenty of things to get out and enjoy in these somewhat cool temperatures. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Joe Winters has today's forecast for fun.
Once again, it's time to take a look at some February events. We call it your forecast for fun. And we are looking for conditions to remain fine for skiing. Some of those warmer conditions we had last week, but now that we've got some colder weather working its way in, they certainly can keep that base up. So that's good news. Lots of run opens, and that will continue as we work our way into the upcoming weekend as well. No big problems on the hills in and around the state of Iowa. Saturday, we are going to see some rain, snow far south, snow elsewhere. That certainly could affect your walking forecast, but it looks good on Friday with 33 degrees, and Sunday looks nice, although a bit cooler, 27, a far cry from the 50s just 1 week ago. Don't forget the Lansing FFA, that soup, supper, and bake scale 5 to 7. That's on Friday with homemade chicken noodle soup, chili, mac and cheese, baked goods, a free will donation. The weather cooperates if you're headed out on Friday. Also, for the Wiki Up Hill Learning Center, they've got a great walk, an outdoor luminary walk. That means that walk's going to be lit, should be neat with campfire, illuminated trails, celebrating the beauty of winter. Bring s'more supplies because they'll also have a fire so you can make s'mores once that walk is done. That again runs Friday from 5 to 7. Winter Bachfest in the Amanas Performing Arts Center. They've got music, they've got food, goats, barrels of beer, a big winter party. That runs from 11 to 5. Again on Saturday, we'll have to watch exactly how that storm system moves in, if that could affect some of your travel. That, of course, is our February forecast for fun.
Now, your First Alert forecast with meteorologist A.J. Rickman.
And as Joe mentioned, that system this weekend will, of course, be something to keep an eye on. But in the meantime, for the next 24 hours, we're looking at fairly quiet weather. The only thing that we are watching for is a continuation of some of those breezy conditions. Gusts greater than 20 miles an hour. The farther north you are, the windier it'll be. But then those do taper off as we go through the night tonight. And then we are green for the next 24 hours once those winds taper down or taper off. Now, satellite and radar right now showing mostly clear skies across eastern Iowa. We'll continue to see mostly clear skies early this evening. A few more clouds work their way in tonight, and we'll see those partly cloudy skies overall. Temperatures fall into the teens. Lower 20s in our far southern counties. 11 is going to be your cold spot up in Decorah. Tomorrow, our highs are a few degrees warmer than where we would expect them at this time of year. Average high is 29. We're going to be 31 in Charles City and Decorah, 30 in Fayette, 33 in Cedar Rapids. Oskaloosa is your warm spot at 38. Mount Pleasant, not far behind it, at 37. As I mentioned, we're partly cloudy, quiet on Friday for the end of the week, but then as we get into the weekend, that's when we're going to be turning our attention to our next snowmaker. As we go through the overnight hours of Friday, clouds do work their way in. By the time we get to early Saturday morning, here comes the first of that snow. Snow showers across our northern counties as we go through your Saturday morning into early Saturday afternoon. Scattered snow showers continue to work their way across much of the rest of eastern Iowa. Our far southern counties will see the least of those impacts and the least of that snow. And then as we get into your Saturday late afternoon, early evening, that activity starts to taper off. By the time we get to Saturday night, we're going to be seeing partly cloudy skies returning. And then that snow will come to an end for a dry day on Sunday. Now, in terms of your snowfall forecast, best chance for seeing accumulations is going to be north of Highway 20, where 1 to 3 inches is possible. Elsewhere, accumulations up to an inch are certainly possible. Farther south you go, however, the lower those amounts will be expected to be. And then the chance for a little bit of a mix of some rain, perhaps just a little bit of freezing drizzle in our far southern counties. Now, of course, it does not take much wintry weather to cause big travel impacts as we saw yesterday. So make sure that as we get into this weekend, you're keeping an eye on the weather and adjusting your travel plans accordingly, making sure you're driving safely. Cooling trend is going to continue as we get into next week. Colder than average air works its way in. We're going to be watching for an active weather pattern as well, especially the middle of next week. A couple of storm systems will be working their way through. It does look like currently their track takes the heaviest of the snow off to our south, but then we will be seeing the chance at some of that snow working its way into parts of eastern Iowa. Again, as we get to the middle of the week, this is our Wednesday evening time frame, and that continues as we get into your Thursday. And again, best chance with these systems for producing accumulating snow currently is slated to be just to the south of our area. However, keep in mind that this is still several days out, and there is plenty of opportunity for the track to shift just a little bit north or south. And with us being right there on the northern edge of that accumulating snowfall potential, it does not take a big shift in the storm's track to have a big impact on how much snow we see and who sees that snow. So stay tuned for updates.
That's the truth. We will keep a close eye on it, of course, as we head toward next week, and of course update you here, this same place, every night.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Yes, but as we go through the month of February, things change in terms of what we can expect in our weather. We're headed on the upward trend towards spring-like weather. Justin Roberts has a look at the Grower's Guide as we get closer to that growing season.
Our latest Grower's Guide featuring a taste of warmer weather and some colder weather the last couple days too. Let's take a look at our graphics, and it's that time of year where we start to see a bit more sunshine, and we begin like we'll do the next few weeks together with our sun chart. Let's dive into today's numbers. Our sunrise just after 7:14 this morning. That happened under a fair amount of cloud cover, but we certainly saw the clouds move out. Sunset 5:27. Amount of daylight 10 hours, 12 minutes, 37 seconds. Change from yesterday, we gained 2 minutes, but a change from the winter solstice, 10 hours, 12 minutes, 37 seconds gives us an additional hour, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds of sunlight since that winter solstice. Monthly snowfall, we're still well behind February, 8.2 inches. Haven't seen hardly a peep out there, but we're going to look to change that, and we'll talk about that here coming up in our future forecasts. Temperature trends this month, and we talked about that warmer weather last week into the past weekend, but now we've dipped a little bit below the trend. We look to moderate a bit the next few days. Normal high 29 the beginning of the month, normal low the 12-degree mark. By the end of the month, we warm almost 10 degrees to a normal high of about 38 and a normal low of 21. High temps so far, let's take a look at the scorecard. Last couple days have been in the upper 20s, and when we talk about the low temperatures, it's certainly been chilly, but right about where we should be compared to what we had starting this past week with temps in the 20s and 30s. Last few mornings have been in the teens. It has not been an overly windy month, about 20 to 25 mile-an-hour winds, but we certainly saw some of those stronger winds today in northern parts of the state. And precipitation, not enough to really register in the old rain gauge, despite some of that freezing drizzle we saw last night. Our final graphic here, the drought monitor last week. Pay close attention to eastern Iowa here because we're going to adjust it now. Let's update it this week. Yeah, more of our TV9 viewing area jumping in the moderately dry category. So, with not much in the way of moisture in sight the next couple of days, we don't look for this to change, but we do bring a little snow in for the weekend, and we do bring a little bit more snow for next week. Any little bit helps. As always, full details on your Grower's Guide, future forecasts, snow for the weekend, and much more at kcrg.com. We'll send it back to you.
And Justin's right. We are looking at least some opportunities to get some of that moisture into eastern Iowa, perhaps ease those drought concerns a little bit. Temperatures in the 30s tomorrow, 30s again on Saturday. So with this snow that's falling on Saturday, a couple of things working in our favor. That would be the temperatures close to freezing and the daytime timing of the snow occurring. So that may limit the travel concerns, especially for those areas south of Highway 20. Even those light amounts can cause trouble, we know, but those two factors will at least be in our favor this time. That's the good news there. Now, as we look ahead towards Sunday, there's the opportunity for many cold mornings to run together here in a row, 5 days in a row of single digits or below zero readings, except for Monday. Monday may be the single exception there. But as we look ahead toward, say, for example, next Wednesday, with some of those snow chances hanging around and below zero wind chills to start off the day, that is definitely a stretch of wintry weather as a potential next week. It will be something we'll be watching very closely as we get closer to it. Right now, Valentine's Day is hanging out as a dry day in between a couple of precipitation chances, also turning a little bit warmer too, close to freezing. I used to deliver flowers for a living sometimes, AJ, at a previous job, previous life, and warm temperatures on Valentine's Day are good for the florists out there.
I can
be as
imagine.
worried about those flowers getting damaged.
Did you ever lose any of them to frost or freeze?
Not that I'm aware of, because you don't know until it's too late, but we would always wrap them in these plastic bags, and I think that would help. But most of the time we got away with it. Our Valentine's Days, when I was working, at least, were all pretty reasonable.
Well, that's good, and we'll hope for florists and for folks who maybe want to get outside and do some outdoor activities on Valentine's Day for at least reasonable temperatures. Of course, it's February, it's going to be cold, but maybe if you want to go out and do some snowboarding, hopefully it's not going to be bitterly cold below zero. Of course, right now it's looking like that is in our favor.
At least, yeah, on the next several days, indeed. Now, we will be back again tomorrow night at the same time to provide you the latest update headed into your weekend. Thanks for joining us tonight, and have a great night.